Rapids. If you have not followed his Triple H horse racing podcast, you're missing out. It's one of the best podcasts in the country.
Hello and welcome to the HHH Racing Podcast, episode 411 of Picks and Ponies. I'm your proud host, Howard Kravitz. Thank you very much for joining us tonight. As we have a very exciting show, we are going to be talking about this Saturday that are going to be run for Stephen Foster Preview Day. Of course, the Stephen Foster is a huge Grade 1 dirt race for older males, and they have a major card in a month from now. And I have a very exciting announcement, by the way, about that particular card. But on Saturday at Churchill, it is their Stephen Foster Preview Day. 6 stakes, all of them ungraded. Very good fields. We're going to talk about all 6 tonight. So thanks for joining us very much. Please make sure you hit that subscribe button on the bottom right-hand side of the screen, the notification bell on the top right, and smash that like button. We would greatly appreciate it because that'll send like-minded horse players to the YouTube algorithm and to our show. So we really would appreciate that. You can listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Anchor. Tip sheet still growing strong. Actually, it's about 211 with the ROI, 4.5 years running now. I got to do some updates there. Look below the video player if you're interested on our Power Picks tip sheet. I also have an announcement for our Team HHH subscribers as well. So a few things we need to talk about. We've got a great website, hhhracingpodcast.com. Let's see who we've got in the chat because there's a new feature, and I think I had to try it when I'm live. So let's see what happens here. Let me just click a button. I actually have no idea what's going to happen. Let me see. Oh, Chris Couples is here. What's up, Chris? I actually did show comments in a different way, and apparently it's not working the way I thought it would, but I'll get it figured out. John Kidzerski's here. What's up, John? Appreciate it. Katie is here. Ralph Conti is here. Very exciting to have Belmont back. Yes, Breeders' Cup 2027. Very exciting, Ralph. We're all stoked about that. Long overdue. All right, well, while I try to mess around with the new comments, etc., let me go ahead and bring on my fantastic co-host. First, wearing a extremely appropriate shirt, I shall say, from the East Coast of Maryland, gentlemen, not too far from Laurel, and I'll bring up that as well. The reason I bring that up in just a moment, Mr. Pete Visco, and from the Saratoga Special, there it is. Look at that, Paul. Saratoga Special and the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, Mr. Paul Halloran. Gentlemen, how are we doing this evening?
What's up, gents? Paul, how's it going, my friend?
Hi, Pete. How are you?
I'm excellent. You?
Good.
Wonderful. All right. Well, got that out of the way.
We got the pleasantries out. Let's get to some horse stuff.
Lots to talk about. First of all, the reason I bring up Laurel, and I'll talk about at the end of the show too. Very exciting. Miguel Clement, unfortunately, I should say, but Miguel Clement will have his first official horse running in your neck of the woods, Pete, Laurel, with a horse named Otello, and I'm very proud to have a ownership piece of Otello along with Adelphi Racing. It's race 8 on Saturday, ladies and gentlemen. It's a small field. He's got a huge shot to win the race. I'm sure tears will be shed. He's got actually a few runners on Saturday in different places, but cheer on Adelphi Racing and Miguel Clement for sure. And, you know, if you want to cheer me on, that'd be nice too. With a horse named Otello in an N3X allowance race at Laurel on the dirt. He's a nice horse. He's got a big shot. Paul, I'm going to talk about at the end of the show why I'm wearing this hat. I think you know why, but we'll talk about it. Wonderful article was written by, was it Joe or Tom? I think it was Joe. Right? Joe. Yeah. I'll talk about that at the end of the show regarding Christophe Clement. We'll get to this, guys. But before we get into the handicapping, the last thing I want to mention, major announcement, which Mr. Jim Goodman sort of told me to keep off the record about a month and a half ago. Keeneland Breeders' Cup, Paul and Pete, 26, and it's not up to you. It's not up to us. It's New York. Back to Belmont, guys. Long, about frickin' time. Breeders'
Sure.
Cup at the new Belmont Park, Paul, in your neck of the woods, 27. How amazing is that going to be?
Oh, I'll tell you, I've been to a couple at Belmont. I froze my ass off once at Belmont. I was at Belmont in 2001 with the snipers on the roof, six weeks after 9/11. It's at the new Belmont. It's going to be spectacular. I kind of figured that was going to be the rotation. No offense to our good friends in California, some of whom participate in these podcasts, but enough already with the goddamn California consecutive Breeders' Cups. Back at Keeneland, back at Belmont, and it's just great. And Keeneland's happy to, they don't want it really much more than once every 5 years because they got their sale and ever, but they couldn't go to Belmont until 27. They got to make sure Belmont's fully operational.
By the way,
Yes.
Paul, when you say no offense and then you say something nasty like that, I'm pretty sure offense comes with the territory. Not that I mind it, but I just wanted to mention
taken, Pete, that they know I'm not like that.
That's true. They know that ranting and being nasty are not in your repertoire by any stretch.
No, but I mean, look at it. We love going out there, the weather, but enough already. We gotta move this thing around.
Hey, we got global warming now, so Belmont should be nice and toasty in November this time, or late October, whatever the dates are.
When it was at Keeneland, everyone was so worried. Oh, it's gonna be cold. It was almost 80 degrees. It was like a record high, but it was very warm when Flightline went on the track in a very fast fashion to win the Classic. I just have a question for people that are watching. If you are watching on YouTube, I don't know if you guys also watch the show on your own tablets or whatever, Pete and Paul, but it looks like the screen is smaller than it normally is on YouTube because the subscribe button is actually, how do I describe this? Sort of not within the screen itself. So if anyone could just comment in the chat if it looks any different to you on YouTube, where the actual main screen where you're watching us has been a little bit minimized, let me know because I didn't do anything different. I'm just wondering if that's something from StreamYard or something else, which is our software. Anyway, let me know in the chat.
I'm looking. It doesn't
look any different to you. Okay.
No, it sort of overlays the subscribe button, so it doesn't.
It does. Okay. So the subscribe button is like on top of our screen, like it's on top of.
It's on top of the screen, like the HHH thing is in the upper right corner there, so it's fine.
Okay, great. So then it must be something that I did.
So if you're looking at it, listeners and viewers, hit it real quick while you're staring at it. Click on it while you're looking.
On my you know what that it was. Oh, there we go. It was my iPad. Okay. All right, guys, let's move on. Big day at Churchill. You know what? I'm going to hold off on my big announcement about Churchill Downs and Stephen Foster Day halfway through the show. I'm going to leave people hanging, so to speak. Let's get to it, guys. Big preview day. There's one race outside of the late pick 5 that we are going to talk about very briefly. I'm not even going to show the PPs, but it is quite an exciting race. It's right here. Let me bring it up. It is the Aristides, a sprint race, grade 3, 6 furlongs. And guys, wow, is there a lot of early speed in this race or what? Which is interesting because the time form US guys do not have it color-coded fast, which to me is crazy based on who's in the race. We're just going to very, very quickly, guys, show our picks and talk about the race. There they are at the bottom of the screen. I just had to switch it off. Sorry. Let me go back to it. There's a very exciting horse, guys, in here in Skelly. Does Mr. Asmussen have some fast runners between this horse and Booth? Wow. I mean, he's got some serious. How about that match race in the mornings, guys? Booth and Skelly. That'd be fun. Skelly's 7-5.
Right? He's always got some good sprinters in his barn.
Well, yes, he does. I think there's a horse named Matoli who is pretty good as well.
Decent.
I'm going 6-7-3. Paul's going 7-3-6. Pete's going 6-7-3. Same as me, Pete. So we're all going based the same 3. I've tried to beat Skelly and I've tried to beat Booth, and sometimes I've been right, other times I've been wrong. This is a very exciting race, Pete. You agree with me that Skelly is just the horse to beat, but Paul's going with the world record, the 7 on the outside, who should get a great trip and stalk Skelly in theory, and he's sort of the fresh face up and comer. Should be a fun race, Pete.
Yeah, this is a sort of a classic example of, do you take the horse that's done it already, which is Skelly, or do you take the horse in world record, which Paul can speak to, where I assume he's projecting that world record is on his way to get up to where Skelly already is, and maybe he does it today, and having Pratt on him doesn't necessarily hurt. So I'm wondering if that's the way Paul could talk about it, but that's a good way to look at this race. Where is it the one who's Skelly, who came back and just, I mean, the two 2025 races, 107 buyer, 110 buyer, huge time forms. I mean, at 6 years old, coming back as strong as ever. So he's really hard to play against. But if you think world record is sort of getting to that point, and maybe this could be his coming out party, it should be a fun race just to see if that happens, because then now we can have two great sprinters come out of this potentially.
Paul, how do you see world record win? Does Skelly have to take a step back? Does world record have to step up? Does someone have to push Skelly? Can world record just stalk right outside and go by? What's your theory as to how world record beats Skelly here?
Yeah, I think the last scenario is possible. I like world record a lot here, by the way. In fact, it's my best bet of the day. I'm glad you talked about this race. And I have nothing bad to say about Skelly. I'm a Skelly fan, but and look he ran really fast the last two times, but those fields were very weak. I thought the world record allowance field at Churchill was pretty good. Nash, who once upon a time was a really good horse, maybe again, and Track Phantom. I don't know, maybe just I can't get that Amsterdam out of my head, where that particular day he was just phenomenal. The Jerkins is a furlong too long, had the rail, never really extended on the lead. And, I don't know about, I can't speak for the Mahoning Valley race. I don't know. That could be 9 turns for all I know. I'm not sure about that. But came back strong. I know Brisset likes this horse a lot. Pratt, regular pilot. Again, could Skelly run away and hide? Sure, but I don't think he's going to let that happen. I think there's other speed. You touched on it at the top, Howard. The one certainly has some speed. I think the 3 is going to be an issue with some speed. So, yeah, I think the positioning of world record, the type of trip he gets, the type of horse I think he is, I like this horse a lot.
Hey, Paul, you also get one nice thing that I looked at was just world records 2 out of 3 at Churchill, and Skelly's 1 out of 4. And they weren't all races where Skelly lost to horses who he probably should have lost to.
Yeah.
I mean, he
Good
lost
point,
to Happy as a
yeah.
Choice. So maybe that, that could be just a course.
I feel better.
Course thing
Keep
too.
going.
Yeah, I'm glad. Yeah.
Preach, Padre Pete.
We'll see. Maybe I'll have to switch my pick now. You can
in fairness, Pete, as you know, and Howard, Churchill is one of those tracks that horses who do well there tend to keep doing well, and vice versa. Not all tracks are like that. But I think Churchill of all, we talk about it every year, right? Going to the Derby, if a horse had run well there as a 2-year-old. So I'm, again, I could get beat by Skelly. He's going to be even money. I've been beaten by even money shots before. I think I might get a decent price, 5-2, 3-1 on world record. And I'm all in with the French connection, Rodolphe Brisset and Flavien Prat.
Wow, been working on his French. Nice.
Yeah.
Chris Couple said since 2017, Skelly's last race at Oaklawn, only Whitmore ran faster, and world record last at Churchill Downs, the fastest 6 furlong race that I have, or Chris has, since 2017. I will say the Churchill Downs strip has been very quick lately. There was a track record, I think 2 weeks ago, with like an allowance horse. I mean, like main 50s were running like 110 and 1. It's been very fast right now. That doesn't take away how good world record is. Last thing I'll say, the dam, by the way, of world record is a horse named Marwa. Why do I bring that up? Because Marwa was also the dam of a horse that, well, let's just say didn't quite work out for me in a Delphine named Slivo Spritz, was also by out of Marwa. So that's it's just amazing how the sire, but one was Gun Runner, the other was, I can't remember what Slivo Spritz was. So it makes a difference, the male side obviously as well, but interesting that same dam Pete can produce like a horse that can't break his maiden for like 40, and then you got world record.
They can't all be winners, right? That happens in humans as well. They can't all. Can I ask you guys one quick question before we move on?
Yeah,
20 cent. This kicks off 20 cent pick 6. Would you guys single one of the two, or would you say screw it and play both of them because it's a 20 cent? And if you have some opinions later, what would you guys do here?
I'm not playing the 20-cent pick six. If someone held a gun to the head and said I would do it, there's no way I'd use both. I would single and take a chance, and based on my picks, I'd have to say I'd just single Skelly, but I wouldn't feel great about it. So I'm not sure what the astute Mr. Halloran would do, but I would single.
I would
But
not
world
play a
record's
20
gonna be
cent.
3 times the price. I mean,
Yeah, you the 20-cent pick six you can have. That needs to go the way of the dinosaurs.
I would agree. Let's go on to the actual pick five. How about that, guys? Pick five,
Like it.
Churchill, Saturday, 3:51 Eastern. It starts with the Autobahn. It's a $275,000 mile and an eighth turf race, restricted for 3-year-olds. It's a field of 8, very well balanced field. You can see on the screen. The morning line favorite is the number 8's early adopter for Chad and Flavian Pratt. Let's see where we are going right now. And to start the pick five, I'm going 4-3-6. Paul's going 3-6-8. And my Paisan brother from another mother is also going with the same top choice. Pete is going 4-2-5. Wow, Pete, you and I are both going 10-1 morning line shots. I love it. Paul, you're going to Scipio. Very honest, very nice horse for Mr. Baltus and Saez. 7-2. I thought there's two things that I want to say off the top. One, I thought this was a tough field. And two, this morning line on early adopter is completely ridiculous. I guess I think they're using AI or some kind of program to help them with the morning line, I think, or that might be out west. I can't recall. I understand it's like Chad and Flavian, just because of that, the source is going to take money, but there's nothing on the page in early adopter that should say that he should be 3-1 at all. So I'm fascinated to see what odds he goes off. And we love early adopters so much, ladies and gentlemen. Only one of us has the 8 in the money, and that's Paul for third. But Paul, go ahead and talk about Scipio to kick off the pick five.
Yeah, I'm just gonna hope. I think he was way too far back last time. Now, having said that, he ran that way successfully in the Transylvania. He came running, so I'm just gonna hope that was a line through it race. Last time did run very well, as I said, coming very very late but very fast in the Transylvania. Again, it's a West Coast horse, but this is his third on the East Coast, so I'll swallow hard and take that. I just think with Saez especially, there's a chance he's not going to be at the very back of the field. And I think that there'll be an opportunity for him to get the right trip in this type of race. It's not a ton of speed, but I think there might be enough.
Well, it is a mile and eighth, number one. Number two, we remember the American Turf guys, of course. That was a pretty slow pace, and Zulu Kingdom just sat off and won. The closers had zero chance in that race, guys. So I'm giving Scipio a little bit of a pass. I just think he's pretty classy. I don't know about his upside, Paul. I think that's why I don't have him on top. I mean, I don't know. I'm not saying we've seen his best, but I'm just, for being the favorite or one of the favorites, I don't love him based on that alone, but he's logical. I've got him second. Pete disagrees, though. Pete, let's talk about Macero. I thought the replay, which we'll take a look at, was pretty impressive. And this is, again, one of these progressive horses that's lightly raced, only his second start of the year, that I think he has a chance to get better and better. And boy, I thought he was pretty darn impressive in that last race. Now, that being said, as we show the replay, and Paul, I know you remember this because you were there with me that day. States Rights, who finished second, was the best horse that day, Paul. And I think we both had that horse in our contest one way or another. Got a brutal trip. However, Pete, I don't think that should really take away from Macero, because Macero did run very well, and the visual to me, as we'll see in the stretch, was very enticing.
Yeah, no, I agree with that, and I think you said it your first couple comments about this horse. I'm a sucker for when a horse comes back, especially the move from 2 to 3, which all these horses are making. But that was his first start as a 3-year-old off a relatively lengthy layoff. What number? I forget what number.
In the blue on the outside, about to angle out.
Yeah,
States
angling,
Rights
right?
is on the inside here, who had a ton of trouble. But here's Macero on the wrong lead. Once he switches back, I think this is a pretty darn good effort. Here's States Right, who had trouble. Sorry, Paul.
Howard, I had forgotten about. Oh, look at he's standing up. Oh, my aching nuts.
But there's Macero. We'll get a wellness check on Paul in just a second, Pete. There you go, Pete.
Yeah. Obviously, Paul might have that might have cost Paul some cash.
Oh, I had
It
him
there.
in
cost
the
me a little bit,
contest.
but not as
I
much
had
as
him
Paul,
in the
if I recall.
contest.
In the
Yes, I
contest,
did.
yes,
Yeah, I
yes.
did too.
But but I did think Macero ran really well, especially again,
He did.
first time back after whatever that is, 6-month layoff, basically. Lifetime buyer top, lifetime time form top, and that race put him, at least from a figure standpoint, in the mix with the rest of this field. And what you talked about, this field's not great. It's a pretty
No.
balanced field. I think it's a really good field betting wise because they're all. I could have make a case for probably every horse. I just think this one's on the up and up. Only second start on turf, was a little bit on the Derby trail, as you can tell from the PPs.
Yep.
At least early on. So that sometimes skews maybe what the horse probably should be doing. And maybe now this horse is doing what he's supposed to do. And I mean, you see there the sibling Bleecker Street was awesome. I love
Remember
that horse.
Remember how good this horse got at Tampa with Diaz riding a few years
I
ago?
love
Remember
that horse, man.
That was the
Yeah.
early part of our podcast in 22.
Yes.
Yeah. But yeah, I
So-
mean, so the breeding is there. So moving to
Yeah.
the turf made sense. It just, the Derby fever, as whatever Paul, what are the initials, Paul? Do you like to call
DFS, Derby
DFS,
fever
Derby
syndrome,
fever
and
syndrome.
no one has it more than Dale Romans,
Dale
who I love,
Romans,
by the
that
way.
still, but
I'd
that's
love to see him win one.
But then you figure it out and you say, wait a minute, this might be a good turf horse. So again, we could be getting a horse on the up and up that's better than these potentially, and you're getting him as the longest shot on the board, at least as far as the morning line goes.
Jim, almost all the 20-cent pick sixes are jackpots. The Derby City 6 is a jackpot bet. I'm 95% positive. Someone wants to double check on that, but I'm pretty darn sure. TJ Pops is in the chat. Think Pete and I alike. Okay.
Beautiful,
Or
TJ.
Think
Look
Pete
at that.
and I think alike. Okay. TJ, thanks for joining the show with fireworks too. And it's
We got
not even 4th of
fireworks for
July.
me and TJ.
How about that? All right. So I like Macero too. Nothing else to add. Let me just leave it open to you guys. I'll just one other horse or one other thought in this race. Paul, do you want to talk about the 6, or what else would you like to mention here?
Just a B. I like buyers have gone up every race. So the Oscar performances are great on turf.
Yeah.
This is another horse. After consecutive 9th place finishes, they decided maybe this dirt isn't such a great idea. It's Bill Mott's son, Riley. We always root for Riley. And I think this horse is on the improve and could get a piece of it. I got him as a B in case he gets a big piece of it.
Pete, who would you like to discuss? So you got the 2 in second.
I'll just mention, I'll mention the 2 because it's another price horse. I think the other ones are a little more obvious. This is one lost to Tomasello last time, but what I like is that was the first stretch out. So they put this horse on turf, immediately started getting better, then really improved once started routing. And if you look, the dam, you don't need to look at it, but the dam actually sprinted early and then went routing late and was graded stakes and stakes winner. I think graded stakes place maybe. So this horse could be following a similar trajectory where, hey, we're we're routing on turf. Maybe this is what this horse wants to do all along. And the damn side progeny, 32% wins turf routes so far. So there's some breeding in there that I like with the stretch out. And again, if I could make a case for 2 10-to-1 shots in this field, I'm pretty happy if I can get one of them home in like a pick 5 scenario.
The race feels very trip dependent to me. It feels pretty wide open. And I should mention, this is very important. There's a huge contest this weekend that I don't know if Paul's participating or not, but has a lot of NHC and BCBC seats on the line. It's called Pick Your Prize. It's based out of Monmouth. So you have to bet Monmouth. However, just breaking today, they did add 2 races at Churchill because they're worried about the rain on Saturday and Monmouth. So race 7, the one we just went over, and race 9, which we'll talk about a little bit at Churchill, are both available in the Pick Your Prize contest for anyone playing in the contest, even though those are at Churchill Downs, which is interesting. And of course, my quick weather is supposed to rain possibly tomorrow in Kentucky. It should be fine Saturday. Turf might be a little bit wet on Saturday, but I would be very surprised if they were not on turf at Churchill on Saturday. All right, guys, let's go to the next race, which is race 8. It is the Shawnee Stakes, 275,000 mile and a 16th for the older fillies and mares on the dirt field of 9. Moreline favors number 1, Where's My Ring, who is a new Peter Miller acquisition who was scheduled to maybe run in 2 different spots in the West Coast. And instead, they decided to go here. Very interesting decision for the new connections. Luis Saez has the mount. Let's see where we're going here in race 8. I'm going 6-7-4. Paul's going 9-1-3. Wow. And Pete is going 6-7-3. So
We are
boy,
simpatico today, my friend. What is going
we
on
are.
here?
It's about freaking time. Pete and I are very much the same. And some wacko Paul's going 3 horses we don't even have in the money. This is I found this to be a very tricky race. And Pete, let me just say, for obvious reasons, I love your top choice here. I thought I was being a little cheeky here with Alpine Princess at 6-1, but I like her quite a bit actually. But we'll get to her in a minute. Free Like a Girl, Paul, the richest Louisiana bred in the history of the state. Really, really likable horse. Has run into a horse named Torpedo Anna a bunch of times. Well, there is no Torpedo Anna here, so I'm sure this horse feels free like a girl horse for Pamier and Le Parou. See, I can go a little French also. 4-1. What do you like about her in this race, Paul?
Well, first of all, people will be wondering about the trainer. This is a Louisiana trainer, Chasey Pommier. However, 107 wins in her career, 4.5 million in purses, wins at 15% over the last 5 years. So no issues there. I'm a big company line guy, like you mentioned, how I lost to Peter Winner twice, Raging Sea last time.
Yeah.
I just think this horse has a very big class advantage in this race. And I don't really mind the outside. I mean, it's not ideal at a mile and a 16th, but I'm not. I think this horse is forward, as you can see from the PPs. I didn't look. Yeah, Time Form has her, but co-third there. Maybe that sounds like about right. I got my. We'll battle it out with Leperoux and Giroux, and neither one of us will win. But I'm going to go with Julien here, and for this, hopefully we get Chasey Pommier her first Churchill Downs win.
Paul, I don't like to throw poo-poo at all because that's usually Mr. Visco's job, and I especially don't like to throw poo-poo at the wonderful Paul Halloran. But Paul, this is going to sound a bit disrespectful, but I don't mean it to be. I think it's an absolute sucker horse. I think Free Like a Girl, I understand she's won 2.5 million, but in this scenario, she's just basically been chasing on the outside, getting really good trips of horses that are much better and collecting a lot of money in races that frankly have not been very good other than the winner. And I just think she's going to be like 5-2 in this spot for no damn reason. That's just, I don't know if Pete feels as strong as I do, but I think she's like the obvious pick based on the company lines, but I just don't think she hasn't made any moves. She just sort of sits on the outside and just runs around the track nicely, but nothing special. I'm totally against Free Like a Girl in this race, and we'll find out who's right or wrong. I get it, Paul. I just respectfully disagree. The horse I like a lot here, and I'll let Pete talk first. The number 6.
Why don't you go first this time? You never get
All
to
right,
go
I'll go
first.
first. 6-1, Pete. I guess the first thing that let me go full screen. By the way, love the ownership. Full of Run Racing. I mean, if it was Clark Up Racing, the horse would have no chance, but Full of Run. I mean, I think the first thing it points out to me, Pete, is I don't think this horse wants any part of any wet ground at all.
No, none. That's what
I mean, she was okay in the sloppy, but she was 60 cents the dollar. She was supposed to win the top flight. But headline numbers is pretty good horse for Chad. Just didn't fire against Torpedo. I don't think she liked the wet. You go further back on February 17th down the bottom of the page against Tarifa in the slop, just didn't run very well. You take out those sloppy efforts, Remington Park Oaks, 96, Comley, 90, Houston Lays Classic, 90, sitting nice trips and making moves against pretty good fields. I just think at a price, she's going to sit a great trip. It's going to be dry Saturday. I don't want Free Like a Girl. I definitely don't want Where's My Ring. That's my theory. I think she's a nice horse who's still got upside.
Yeah, no, I pretty much agree with everything you said. She has closed into sort of slow paces before.
Yeah.
There doesn't look to be a ton here. Sort of, it looks moderate, most likely, so nothing super fast. And I think the last couple just sort of muddy the form up a bit. And before that, I think those even
no
just
pun
from
intended, right? By the way,
no pun intended at all.
There.
Yes, exactly. It literally muddied the form up. But I do think that there was some upside there, and I think that might have those last two just sort of stunted that. But maybe we can get back to it. Coxteru, by the way, grade 3 dirt routes at Churchill, 7 for 15 wins, 9 for 15 in the money, and won 4 in a row together, that pair. And Giroux's not our favorite on the show necessarily, but there are times when the right thing works. So yeah, I think this is another race. I think it's similar to the last one where it's just pretty even, right? No standouts. So if you can get a price, then
I thought so.
Why the hell not?
We'll go back to Where's My Ring in a moment with Paul, but let's also talk about Jin. Pete, another one that we agree with. I don't know where the last race came from. So this is usually a horse I'd be completely against. But my feeling was if Brendan Walsh gets a horse good, Pete, they get really good. And she's got tactical speed in a race that doesn't have a lot of it. I don't think that was some kind of fluke. I mean, she blew by the leader, easily beat Tarifa. Candide came back to win her next start. I mean, again, I don't know where the 96 came from. I don't know if she has to run a 96. We'll show the stretch run. But maybe Walsh has figured out Jin. Shockingly, Cox couldn't figure it out. I don't know. But maybe this horse is on the improve, and I don't want to, miss the wedding with this horse at 3-1 when she wins again by 2 or 3.
Yeah, my thinking with this one was if there was no reason could come up with. So if it was just if she was still under Cox and all of a sudden just freaked and ran sort of that crazy race, then maybe you look at it and go, well, what the hell could have changed? But at least there was a trainer change. And again, it's not like you're saying Cox to Walsh is an improvement, but sometimes just one trainer has a better feel for a horse than another. It doesn't matter how good the trainer is. Sometimes it's just circumstance or style or whatever. And the one thing too, last thing is, she runs better when she's up closer to the pace. So she had been running a little further back in some of those prior races. You see in her wins, she's up close. The win back in the Busanda, she was up closer. And then even before that in the Rags to Riches when she broke her maiden, she was like just decent races. She was always a little better closer. Ortiz ran on her last time, gets him again. So maybe he'll have a good feel for her and the style that suits her. So all that is where I sort of landed. Like maybe that wasn't a fluke. And if that's her, they might all be just running for second.
Maybe again, there's Tarifa, there's Candide. Remember, Candide came back to win last time. So, I think some people feel Candide's a bit overrated or disappointing, whatever. But I mean, it's not like they barely won. So I'm just against the two horses that Paul has on top. I love Paul, but we just disagree. That's absolutely fine. That's part of the handicapping game. Let's talk about Where's My Ring, Paul, before we go on to the next race. Again, this horse was scheduled to run in California twice. Miller decided to go here. If she runs 2-back, the race that she ran, she wins this by 5. When she ran a hole in the wind at Oaklawn from the inside. It was a slow pace, but from the inside, this is a very enigmatic horse, Paul. I liked her at times last year as a 3-year-old. And it just seemed like when she was running out east or Midwest, she was just not very good at all. But then she freaked at Oaklawn 2-back. I suppose she could wear this field. I actually like her more than Free Like a Girl if I had a choice of the two. Why is this horse going to win, or at least show herself very well Saturday?
Well, I don't know how accurate you talked about the morning lines, but I think, I'm going to use this horse as an A just kind of defensively, but this is a horse. If she is 5-2 or 2-1, maybe even 3-1. I think you're supposed to try to beat, aren't you? Like you say, enigmatic is a good word and good usage there.
Well,
You'd never know you're a math teacher or not an English teacher.
I was a journalism major. Don't forget that, my friend.
That's correct. But that Gazelle, Howard, if we're going back a year, that Gazelle was really good. I mean, it wasn't a great field, but it was really good. And yeah, her best race probably does win it. That's why there's several horses you can make a case for. I'm going to use this horse as an A just because I know that if she throws in that one of those races, she wins.
Do you want her on the lead, Paul? I think that's her best chance, personally.
Yes, I would say if I had, yes. And I think, with Louis riding from the rail, I think there's a good chance. Edmonton 3-0 in the first, by the way. Let's go, Oilers.
Wow. I know we're, United States citizens, at least I am. I don't know about you two, but there's a part of me that likes the Edmonton win the whole thing. It's about time a Canadian
Oh
team
my God,
wins. And
absolutely.
I'm
What
really
gives
damn
a
sick.
crap
I'm
which
really damn, I
citizen
don't know
or
why
what?
I'm ranting in the middle of the show now, but about
Oh, he's the
NHL.
best.
I'm really damn sick of these warm weather U.S. cities winning the
Oh, please. And
Stanley
that
Cup. It's
rat
just
Marchand
Dallas
for the Bruins on
and a
Florida.
team
Screw
from
him.
Fort Lauderdale
Let's
and
go,
like
Oilers.
right, guys. We don't. I mean, that's just not right. I don't know. I'm sorry, Panther fans. It's weird. Okay, let's go on to the next races. We cover all
Yeah.
circles here. We go all over the place. We spread the field. We sprayed all fields. There we go. That's what I meant to say. Okay, race. What the hell race? Oh boy. All right, Kyle Roscoe and Matt Miller cover years. It's the Arlington Stakes. They always, they try to pay homage, guys. I'm sorry. I love Churchill, but no, doesn't do it for me. It's a grade 3, mile the 16th on the turf, older males, field of 9. More lane favorite is the number 8, Mercante, who's getting really good for Nippenberg and Ramos. Low profile connections, but I'll tell you what, this horse has not run low profile at all in his last two. Another wide open race, guys, in a tough field. I have a strong opinion here, and I don't know if you guys know where I'm going to go, but let's just say I'm stubborn sometimes. I'm absolutely stubborn sometimes. Herche is out. Okay. Thank you, Chris Couples. The number 4
Yeah.
is out. That is
Well,
good.
vet scratch
That
today.
scratched today, right? Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let's go to it right now. No, that's not my top choices. It's right there. I'm going back with my boy. I'm going 2-8-3. Paul's going 9-7-8, and Pete's going 8-9-4. This is
Can
a
you
strong.
can you make that the 5 for me? Since we probably think the 4 won't run, can you just throw the 5
Sure
in there
can.
just for record keeping purposes, please?
8-9-5.
Yes, please.
8-9-5. Only because you asked so nicely, Mr.
Yeah.
Visco. So nicely.
When I need something, I could be
I was going to say
genuinely
that's about the
polite.
nicest I've ever heard you in
Yeah.
your entire life.
I'll be the same nasty after this.
Okay, I think most people like the nasty Pete. I just lost my train of thought. Okay, Paul and Peter basically going to the outside, and I'm going partially outside, but more to the inside, frankly. Paul, Brilliant Birdie, nice horse. It's the 9 for DeVoe and Hernandez, 7-2 morning line.
Yeah, I like this horse a lot. I thought
Okay.
he ran really well last time. Second off the layoff. Brought Cherie had this horse at Fairgrounds for a race in the winter. That was a career best buyer on turf. Brian Hernandez is the regular rider. I think he gets the right trip from out there, and yeah. And this race is named after the town in Virginia. Howard, look at it that way.
Okay, thank you. That makes me feel not much better, but okay.
Yeah, and I see what you're saying. The 8 put those 2 101s back, back to back. So I got him third, but yeah, I'm going with the future Hall of Famer Cherie DeVoe here.
Yeah, I like this horse. I've got this one in the mix for sure. I thought this was a pretty tough race, guys. I do want to show what I've not shown much is the time form actual final numbers, just to keep people, up to date. Event detail looks way too slow with like a 113, 111. Look at the green numbers on the right. Here's my horse I like, Cameo Performance, 120, 126 last two. Gigante in the 120s as well. Herche is out. Laganos also with 122s in the mix there. Call Protection looks a little slow. Silent Heart again in the mix in the 120s. Mercante, whoa, 131 and 130. Ooh, time form really likes Mercante here. And then you've got Brilliant Birdie, who's actually a little slow. Last time was 122, but before that was in the mid to high 1-teens. Again, everyone, you can take that for what it's worth. Just another speed and metric to consider. Pete, with Mercante, there's a part of me that didn't want to like this horse, which just because like how good can this horse get at such big odds? We're not getting 13-1 on Saturday. He's tactical and he's just really good right now. There's really not much to question other than can he just continue to run the way he's running?
Yeah, yeah. It's not the most sophisticated of handicapping angles here. It's just, man, this horse is pretty good right now, and that second in the last race wasn't against some weak field. I mean, that was a pretty high quality. I mean,
Oh,
that was a real
Derby
Grade
Day,
One.
$1 million race.
That was a really solid race, and this
Yeah.
horse duplicated basically the synthetic effort. And when you look at that and you say, okay, gun runners tend to sometimes get a little better later in their career. So this could just be a horse that, again, I hate to be repetitive. We said it in some of the other ones that could just be getting good now. And if that's the case, you don't want to miss out, or at least not include a horse that is in sort of this good of form. 13-1 in the last two, but that was just probably because, he wasn't great before that. He was good. He wasn't great. But now you're getting, so maybe a wedding funeral type of situation here, but I just think the horse is in such good form. It's hard and should get a nice stalking trip. There is some speed here, but Ramos can sort of sit off and sort of make a decision from the outside. But
Jeff Hamster with a comment that I agree with. Churchill running any of the Old Arlington Stakes anywhere Illinois is offensive. I won't say it's offensive, but those are Jeff's words. But running the million at Colonial is patently, that's a good word, patently absurd from Jeff Hamster. I get it. I get it for sure. Ed Burke's team time form 8 single. Bad part of the track last time as well. The only thing I didn't love about that race, and I have a horse coming out of it, guys, is other than Spirit of St. Louis, the rest of like 7 horses in behind were like a length apart. It was just sort of a race that there were a lot of horses close together at the end, which in general indicates not the classiest field. That being said, guys, let me just go to my horse here. This was a big bet for me in the Kentucky Derby Betting Challenge. It was actually my last hurrah. I went all in on Cameo Performance, not just to win, but in tries. So I just need a Cameo Performance to finish in the money. I was sitting next to Matt Miller watching this race the entire time. I didn't love the ride by Saez. He was wide and uncovered almost the entire race. Made a little bit of a move on the turn, but just didn't quite fire in the stretch. It was an okay effort. It was overall disappointing based on how much I liked him, to be very honest. That being said, guys, he did pair up his 96, and you saw the time form it fits. This field was much easier. I actually don't mind Ben Curtis on Cameo Performance, guys, because he's got European background. I think he'll sit on the inside, save ground, angle out late, and just I think this horse wants to be covered up. I still believe in this horse. If I get 6-1, I'll be, and I need him in the pick your prize contest. I'll just say right now I'm going to use him one way, shape, or another. There are no trifectas in this contest, so I won't be doing that. I like Cameo Performance, guys. I just think he's better than he showed and was not that far off Mercante. And who else am I really afraid of? So I like Cameo Performance again. If he doesn't run well, then the divorce papers will be filed. Paul P, we talked about everyone, I think. Anything else you guys want to mention here?
no, I like TC's comment because that was my what if Cameo Performance just doesn't like Churchill all that much. That would be the one, two pretty rugged races there, the only thing. And again, I'm not saying that's the case,
enough.
but I'm just
Fair
saying, what if that is the case? Then you're not sure.
Well, I guess my argument would be if he doesn't like Churchill, why would they be running him there then?
Well, sometimes
Right.
people
Yeah.
are thick-headed. I mean, this is where the races are. This is where the good races are. So
I suppose.
you got to run them somewhere. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess it's hard for me to push back. He hasn't run great there, but yeah, Matt Miller, heartbreaker. That was rough. Because on the turn he made that. We can't show the race. On the turn he made a move. In fact, even Larry Colmos called him out, saying, "Camera Performance making it." Because I watched the replay again. He just flattened out, and just once Spirit St. Louis went by, he just lost a little bit of interest. And I don't know. I think it was better than it looks on paper, but we'll see. I could be wrong. Let's go to race 10, guys. This is the penultimate race of the pick 5. It's a name of a race that Pete, you're not going to like this, but look, it is what it is, my friend. This is the Blame Stakes. There it is. Oh, hold on, sorry. The Blame Stakes, grade 3. This is basically the prep for the local prep for the Stephen Foster guys. It is a $270,000 purse, mile and eighth on the dirt, older males. Really, really interesting field. There are some horses that are cross-entered. I will say that will make a huge difference in this race. We'll mention the cross entries in a second. Moreline favorite is the number 3 Post Time, a horse that actually bet pretty heavily in the Breeders' Cup last year betting challenge in that mile dirt race at the end of the card. Won by Full Serrano. Do I remember that correctly? I believe that's correct. Post Time's 3-1. Maryland bred, very likable horse. Let me put us on the screen, guys, for a big announcement. Here's the plan. Even you two gentlemen don't know this. I had some initial travel plans for next week that out of town that got changed and canceled, and I don't have much going on in June right now. School just finished for me. Ladies and gentlemen, I plan on being live at Churchill Downs for Stephen Foster Day, and we're gonna have a live show, gentlemen. Live show right on the HHH Racing podcast, hosted by ? Either by someone at their house like Pete, or maybe we might have some of our younger co-hosts down there with me, actually hosting the show. So the plan a month from now is to do a live show from Churchill Downs on Stephen Foster Day. I believe Sierra Leone's pointed there. I know some Monster Pletchers are going to be there. It's going to be a fun day, guys. So that's the plan. So stay tuned. We'll also have some big shows next week for the Belmont. And I'll be sending out an email. So please make sure you check out our shows there. Anyway, there's the field, guys, for the preview of the Stephen Foster, the local prep. It's the Blame. Again, Post Time is the favorite. Let's see where we're going here in race 10. I'm going 7-9-6. Paul's going 8-9-7. Pete is going 8-7-9. Pete and Paul, same 3 different order. Let's first talk about let's go to Pete. Actually, you guys have, let's talk about Banishing, who, boy, is he good right now, and ran a huge race, and probably the best race of the weekend over Derby weekend, the Churchill Downs. Pete, what do you like about Banishing, stretching out to mile and 8th for David Jacobson, and Flavian 9-2 morning light?
Yeah, it's funny. Banishing's maybe, I have to think about it, but is maybe one of my top 2 or 3 favorite horses running right now. But when I looked at the race, I said, I don't love Banishing at a mile and an 8th. I feel like Banishing is better going a little shorter. You see the mile and an 8th couldn't hold, the mile and a 16th couldn't hold. So I didn't expect to land on Banishing, and I'm not super confident in him because of that factor. But as I was looking at it, I thought I had questions about most of the other horses as well, and he's just in such good form right now, and he's just really good that I'm thinking maybe even if the distance, and he hasn't done well here at Churchill, even if those things are negatives, maybe his form and quality right now is just good enough to overcome that, and we get Pratt back, who's ridden this horse a couple of times and ridden him well, of course. But it's a softer top choice. John Fortwindell, myself and my brother will be at Churchill that day. Hope to meet you, Howard. There you go.
John, we'll make it happen. We'll have a beverage. Just DM me. If you're not on X, email me. We'll make it happen, John. Thanks. Looking forward to meeting you also. Go ahead,
yeah,
Pete.
but that's it. I don't know, Paul, what are your thoughts? You have concerns, or do you feel confident in him getting the mile and an 8th?
Well, I think the mile and an 8th will be okay. I think maybe Santana moved a little early in that Oaklawn race, Pete.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not, to quote Jonathan Kitchen, I'm not cutting in line to play David Jacobson, but, sometimes you just got to play who you think the best horse is. That race was huge. I mean, Book of Dano ran 4th in that race and ran absolutely huge. Always shows up, ran great.
The race was awesome. Yeah.
There was a dead heat for second with Nisos, who was on the comeback trail. So I was actually thinking that last time, Pete, was the time that I wasn't a believer in this horse, especially because of the field. But coming off that race and the fact it was at Churchill, and this horse is a win machine, 7 out of 19. This horse, although Howard, you said it right. Post Time, I mean, likable, Maryland bred, Brittany Russell, Sheldon Russell. This horse is an absolute character. I'll tell you, if you want to like race horses, this horse every morning is up there, up on his hind legs, making noise, just enjoying the hell out of being out on the racetrack. His exercise rider could be the most underpaid person in horse racing, woman who works for Brittany. This horse is a handful, and he ran huge in that race, just not, Full Serrano ran better. But anyway, yeah, Pete, I think Banishing is okay. I don't know that a mile and an 8th is optimal, Pete.
Yeah.
But like I say, he has a second, and I thought could have won that race. So we'll find out.
Did you see
Well,
the
Paul-
quote from Jacobson who said he could run this week and next week in the Met Mile? Did you see that
I
quote?
saw that.
I'm not
Yeah.
sure about that happening, but that was
Let
Well,
me tell
let's
you
hope
something.
let's
It's-
hope he does that, because then, although this horse does run well fresh, but that Met Mile is going to be huge.
that Met
It'll be-
Mile. Yeah.
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 It's Jacobson, guys. He's
Yeah.
capable of it. Believe me, for
Yeah.
reasons I don't
Yeah.
want to get into. You want to
Correct.
read that at the bottom, by the way, Pete?
Oh, Ed Burke said, "Why isn't he in the Met Mile?" Well, maybe he will be,
Vanishing.
but I don't know, because I would have I thought the Met Mile, unless he just thought this was going to come up softer, and the Met Mile, or if he's planning on going to the Foster and wanted to run over this track, but I don't
Well,
know.
I will say, when banishing on funny story, I'll be very brief. If anyone remembers my Churchtown story, if you've been with the podcast for a while, where I picked Churchtown as my play of the year on Ben and Boozin, and then he got a 0 buyer because he didn't finish the race. But around those races, got like 98s and 99s, 100s. I really liked banishing on August 24th at Saratoga. In fact, actually, I wasn't there that day, and he just lost his rein, guys, at 12-1. But look what he did after that. I mean, I had the right idea. He went on a tear. Maybe they're afraid he doesn't like that Wilton shoot, Paul, I guess. But I don't like the Met Mile on that little short run shoot right at Saratoga at all. Maybe they're afraid of that. I mean, he fits by class, though. So I agree, Ed. It's a little bit weird to me. The horses that are cross-entered, I got to look at the list. So Katona's cross-entered, would show. I don't think would win the race, but he's one that's cross-entered. Let's see here. Who else? I got to look down the list. Best actor is cross-entered in the race on Sunday, an allowance race, and does have a lot of early speed. And there's one more. Oh, sorry. Actually, most wanted.
Most
Also
wanted too.
the
Yeah.
one I like is also cross-entered. I think he's going to go here. We'll see. I thought there was one more. No, I guess not.
Now,
So there are some horses that are cross-entered.
Are there any that'll be cross-dressed?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, just check.
I mean, that's not really my area. We could
right,
make a
just
few
checking.
calls. I think most wanted, guys, most wants the lead, and I think he gets it in this race if he goes here, especially with 2 other scratches inside. Guys, he's lost to Skippy Longstocking, Rail, and Roland Fierceness in his last 3. Now, people are going to say, wait a minute, Howard, you didn't like Free Like a Girl, so why, look, sometimes class matters. I just think most wanted is run really good races. I'm not so sure Free Like a Girl has run fast races. That's my comparison here. Mile and eighth, okay, might be a concern. But I'm going with most wanted. It's not my favorite choice, to be very honest, but that's who I'm going with. I think a lot of horses can win. I'm really curious to see what Antiquarian does, guys, the number 3. For Todd at 15-1, who's got a lot of upside. He's a little bit slow right now, but not by the time form figs. I just want to mention that, guys. Not by the time form. Antiquarian, the number 3, fits, second time off the layoff. You know what Antiquarian feels like to me if he develops? He feels like a Breeders' Cup Classic horse. And people are like, what? I mean, he likes the distance. He's progressive Todd. He's going to get better and better. I'm not saying he's going to win the Classic. I'm not saying he's going to be that good. But he's those kind of horses, guys, that strikes me as someone that wants to run that 1.25 miles and might end up being really good this year. I'm going to keep my eye on Antiquarian going forward. Maybe not Saturday, but that's my thought there. Anything else in this race?
Yeah,
guys?
I was just going to say Mystic Dan. We should probably
Yeah.
talk.
Oh,
Mystic
yeah.
Dan.
Yeah, he won the Derby.
He won the Derby, so we
I'm
should probably
sorry. That's a
mention
major,
him at least.
Thank you, Pete. Major host Phil. Well, look, I'm going to let Paul talk about him because we talk about these Derby winners sometimes. They're out of the ordinary here. Paul, what did he do after the Derby? Well, he ran well in the Preakness, right? Then he lost by 15, 11, and 20. No bueno. Came back well against Saudi Crown in the Oaklawn race, but it was a small field, just tracked. Couldn't go by. Man, I still don't like him, Paul. I need to see it consistently. There's other speed in here. I'm just not a fan. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm not. I mean, again, no bad wishes. It's great. Kenny McPeak's the best, and
I'm not a betting fan.
I'm not going to say horses don't win who win the Derby, because that's going to happen just 7 days from this race. But
good call.
Yeah, I'm with you, Howard. I'm a big Saudi Crown fan, Howard.
Okay.
But that race wasn't that difficult, other than Saudi Crown, was it? You could say, well, he beat everyone else. I don't know. I mean, he's 2 for 3 at Churchill. if you want to look at it like, you know what, you're getting the Kentucky Derby winner. He likes the track, coming off a almost winning race. I got no argument. He's going to be probably at 7-2, 4-1. But I mean, he just gets outdueled. There's no excuse here for sure.
I know
right?
he's first off the layoff, Paul, but like, isn't he supposed to go by anyway? I don't know. You know?
Yeah, I mean, Saudi Crown can be okay,
Yeah.
on the lead, but yes, he is supposed to go by at 8-5, I would say. Although
mean,
Saudi Crown got bet in this race, didn't he?
Yeah, he was lone speed. I mean, yeah, he got bet. Sure,
He was 50
he was the
cents.
favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah, he
Yes.
was the favorite.
He
So
was,
yeah, that's certainly an excusable loss. And if you want to think, that was off a 4-month layoff. If you want to think, although the other thing about that is, 4 months and now coming back in 3 weeks. Is it 3 weeks? 3.5 weeks?
yeah.
4 weeks. Again, I have nothing bad to say about Mystic Dan or Ken McPeak, and although looking at those lines, how it makes you, and then considering what happened in that Derby, it makes you want to throw up in your mouth, doesn't it?
That's one way of putting it.
To quote Bill Parcells.
Yeah, but you know what? Coincidentally, Paul, as we go to the last race on Saturday, this race has regrets. I have no regrets. It's the regret stakes. Grade 3 ends the card. Tough race again to me. Field of 11, mile and 8. This is for the girls, so it's the Autobahn, but for the girls. 5-2 on Classic Q. I'm a poet. I didn't even know it. Mark Cassie, Jose Ortiz. Let's see where we're going. We'll be a little bit quicker here, guys. I'm going 5-7-3. Paul's going 7-6-5. Pete is going 7-8-2. Paul, you are and Pete are both going with Lush Lips for Walsh and Flavian.
Yeah, I mean, I think Nitrogen could be running as well as any female turf horse around right now. This horse lost to her twice, 2 impressive wins before that. It really didn't like the undulations at KD, but I just think this, now that not killing you with the speed numbers, but yeah, I think, and you get Pratt riding. One thing about Pratt, and we talk about him a lot, but and this is the case with, he's not the only good jockey, but there are some of the really good jockeys that the second time they ride a horse, you are going to get improvement. When I did a story on Joel Rosario and he made the Hall of Fame, I think his agent told me Baffert had said that about him. The second time not even in a race, the second time he got on a horse, if he worked him in the morning and then the next time he had the opportunity to ride him in a race, they really get it. Pratt did that. Pratt it wasn't the second time lifetime, but it was the second time in a while on King of Gottsford in that sequence at Santa Anita. And
That was a
D'Amato
great ride too, right, Paul?
What's that, Pete?
That was a great ride too.
Yeah, and D'Amato talked after that race about that how much he had gotten out of the previous. So yeah, I think this horse is in really good form. I think he get Pratt, and I do agree with Uncle. It's a pretty good race. I think there's other ways you can go, but I like this horse.
Second, Fiona. This horse I've been chasing a little bit, Pete. I'm sort of done chasing her. I still think she's got some upside for Cox and Giroux 4-1. She's interesting here.
I love the 7 and the 8, which isn't saying much because they're 3-1 and 4-1. But I love these two horses. I was having a hard time deciding which one I liked more. I landed on the 7. I think more from a trip standpoint, and in Pratt I generally trust, but I was pretty close between those two. And Fiona had the 3 wins on Lasix, but I think the added distance, I think getting back to, or the first time going to a mile and 1/8, I think Fiona is going to really like that. So that's why I think this is a real solid win contender, as long as, see, it doesn't look like a hot pace, but at least there is multiple speed horses that should.
Well, you got speed and a closer as your top 2, which I always like to do.
Yeah, which I like. I like to have them covered, right? You like to have the front and the back there. So
I agree. I'm not being creative either, guys. I don't love this race, to be honest. I'm going Classic Q, who's 5-2. again, I think the distance ran. I watched that replay last time. Boy, I mean, she ran really well. Progressive 3-year-old Jose Ortiz. Work tab's a little bit light since the win. I'm not sure I love that. I don't like this race in general, but I'm gonna use a bunch here. I think it's absolutely wide open. This race, I think he won by a lot of horses here, so I'm gonna be spreading big time in this race, trying to maybe get a price. But I've got like 6 or 7 horses here in the mix that I think can win. Go ahead, Paul.
I was going to say our friend Chris Couples said he liked the bomb, so he just put it in the chat.
Ah,
He said he's using the 9 as well, Makaya,
whoa. Okay.
20-1.
Second off the layoff. Looks a little slow. Lone Turf Route was one of the worst trips I've ever seen, he said. Wow. Okay, well, it looks like I have some more work to do. Moderate hand ride home. Interesting.
Could be a nice board horse
against,
if nothing
against,
else.
Against She's So Spicy, who is really good. Really good. She's So Spicy. So, interesting. I'm going to have to take a look at that one again. Chris, thanks for mentioning that horse. Okay, guys, I think that covers everything we want to for this pick 5. I'm using the 2. I'm using the 3. I just think I'm using the 3 at 20-1, guys. I think some of these more lines are a little bit cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, and I'm going to spread in the last race. Let's go to our best bets, guys. I think we have time to talk about them for maybe 30 seconds each. So let's go in reverse order on the screen that I have set up. Pete, 7th race, Tri-Key Box. 4 with 1, 2, 3, 5, 8. For people that don't know, that means he's going 4 with 1, 2, 3, 5, 8 in second or third, and then he's going to go 1, 2, 3, 5, and 8 in first or third, with the 4 in second, and the 4 in third with 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, any per order, first or second. How did I do, Pete? Good
Did
explanation.
fantastic, yes, and that is Macero, that 10-1 shot that you and I both liked. Yeah,
not 10-1, 5-1. Where do you get?
I don't know. That's a tough field. I think all the shorter ones, at least. I don't think they'll be a big favorite, but I think everybody will be pretty spread out. So hopefully 8, 7, 8 maybe would be lovely.
That'd be lovely.
Yeah.
And then Exacta Box 7, 8 in the last race we just.
I like those two.
Talked about it. Or is that? Wait. Is that the last race? What?
Yeah, that's the last. That was
race 11.
Fione and what the hell's Lush Lips and Fione.
That's in
race 11,
just
talked
right?
about.
Yeah.
Yeah, 11th.
The graphic's a little bit off there. That's my fault. Paul, race 6, a $15 double. Ooh, expensive. I think that dollar.
No, it should be just 7. How it's.
That's what you sent me. I just copied it from your email. So
well, then I did it wrong. The first leg is just the 7 in race 6.
Oh, okay. I copied that. Okay, no worries. 7 with 3, 6, 8. That would be $15.
Yeah, I wanted to try to get a little more equity out of World Record since I like him so much. So
nice.
I go 7, and then in the 8th, I like Brilliant Birdie, so I'm playing 2 horses to get into Brilliant Birdie. Free Like a Girl, there was no chance. I've been told, and
I don't think I said that.
Where's My Ring? Yeah,
I don't think I said that. I said I don't like.
I have feelings too, you know. Okay.
barely, but yes, I heard. Okay, I like those bets. Good luck if you like Paul's best bets. I'm going starting race 8. That's the Alpine Princess race. I'm going to go with a pick 3. And I could single Alpine Princess and really go for it, but I'm not. I'm going 4, 6, 7, which means I'm not using Free Like a Girl or Where's My Ring, although I'm sort of like Where's My Ring a little more after my nephew Paul did some more explanation. Now that I think about it, I still don't like Feel Like a Girl though. And then I'm going to go 2, 3, 8, which is the Cameo Performance race. And then I'm going to go 6, 7, 9. So I'll spend $27 for $1 in a wide open sequence. I think that pick 3 can pay, especially if my middling priced horses are correct. Let's see here. Let's see. Jim Pillars. Will Howard's name be in Paul's ranch? Wow. I don't know. I guess we're going to find out very soon, actually. Really appreciate a lot of people watching and listening. Great viewership once again. I think we covered everything I need to. So it is rant time. I'm actually going to go first. And you know what, Paul? You and I talked off air. It just feels like the kind of week where we do not want to be negative. So let me go full screen myself. And I will go first. We lost one of the best trainers in the history of American racing, as far as I'm concerned, in Christophe Clement last weekend. I had the pleasure of meeting Christophe several times, actually. I did not, to say that I knew him well would not be fair. I did meet him several times, mainly through Adelphi Racing, because he did train a bunch of the horses that I owned. I met him several times on the backstretch at Saratoga, and I met him down at Payson Park, Thoroughbred Training Center in Florida, where actually you got to know Miguel Clement, his son, and now head trainer of the stable as well. Christoph always had time to say hello. Very pleasant guy, very easygoing. Most horsemen and trainers are, but not all of them. But he was a very genuine guy. And what I respect most about him, and again, I didn't really know him that well, but from a horse racing perspective and a handicapping perspective, he always took care of his horses. He always does right by the horse. He did a great job for Adelphi. I hate to say he did. It's just the past tense. It's just a real damn shame. Um, Won many, I think 51 grade ones. Just a fantastic guy, a fantastic trainer. And gentlemen, it's a real shame. I thought he was in his 60s. Like, I mean, he was only 59. It's just, I think someone in our group chat I think Ryan Anderson said it perfectly. Cancer sucks. Unfortunately, I lost both my parents to cancer as well, so I know that all too well. But anyway, I said it on X several days ago and a few times of my heartfelt condolences, our heartfelt condolences here on the HHH Racing Podcast, the entire Clement family. And, God rest his soul, he's in a better place. And he left an indelible mark. There's a good word for you, Paul. An indelible mark on horse racing. And again, Miguel Clement has some horses officially in his name this weekend. So last thing I'll say, and I've said, I'd be in this drum, guys. The guy should have been in the damn Hall of Fame. I mean, they'll probably put him in the Hall of Fame next year. And I got to tell you, if they do that, I'm going to have mixed feelings, because I hate when these Hall of Fame committees, Pete and Paul, like put, people in after they die. It's just, it makes me, if they're that good, what are we waiting for? Like, I don't really love that, to be very honest. He is a Hall of Fame trainer and a Hall of Fame person, and it's a big loss. Paul, I'm going to put you on the screen and let you talk as well.
Yeah, well, I'm happy to say, Howard, in the 2 years I have voted for the Hall of Fame, he was on my ballot, and we talked about the Hall of Fame. The Hall of Fame is broken right now, the system that only Smarty Jones got in this year, and we love Smarty Jones, but we won't. Yeah, I was going to do a rant on the fact that this Autobahn race, Churchill has a knack of putting races in where they don't need to be. This is compliments of our friend Nick Tamaro. The Autobahn on Saturday at Churchill is for 3-year-olds on turf. The Penn Mile on Friday is for 3-year-olds on turf. It's their one big race of the year. The Jersey Derby at Monmouth on Saturday is for 3-year-olds on turf. And the Pennine Ridge, a week from Saturday at Saratoga, is for 3-year-olds on turf. So that's today's lesson in racing. Can't get out of its own way. But however, the one thing, Howard, I would say about Christoph, and I'm in the same boat. I interacted with him many times through my job at the special. We talked to the winners of these stakes races, and as you point out, he won a lot. But my lasting impression is in the mornings. He had a barn. It's Murderers Row, Shug McGahee, Bill Mott, Christoph McGahee, Clement, Mott in a row in the Oklahoma. And just to watch his operation in the morning and him orchestrating every move, every horse's work. His horses would go on to the track. They would not start galloping right away. They would all stand right at the rail. He would have interactions with the jockeys. Usually I couldn't understand it because it was in French. But
very cool the way he had his horses, sort of like Aidan O'Brien-ish.
Yep. Yeah. They go out in sets. They don't. Aiden's the only one who sends them all out at once because he has 15 exercise riders. But yeah, just to watch the operation and my dealings. Again, he was always candid, cordial. Sometimes he was really quotable. Sometimes he wasn't that quotable, but never. Never one of those guys where you dreaded having to say, "Oh boy, I got to go talk to him at 6:00 tomorrow morning." So I'll be out there next week. I'll be in that spot, and it will be sad not to see him there.
Paul, 30 seconds on the purpose of why I'm wearing the Saratoga Special hat.
Oh, yeah. So Joe Clancy, I encourage you, go to thisisHorseRacing.com. Joe wrote a great column about interviewing Christoph like 5 or 6 years ago and giving him, just as a courtesy, hey, here's a Saratoga Special hat, never expecting to see it again. And all of a sudden, Christoph's winning Grade 1 races and he's wearing the Saratoga Special hat. And that is actually the photo that went with the notice of his passing. So yeah, and those guys knew him really well, Joe and Sean and Tom much better than myself, but he was certainly a friend of the special, that's for sure. And
Pete, to say like how low key and classy he was, I gotta be honest, I didn't even know he was that sick. In fact, I think a lot of people didn't know he was that sick. In fact, he was interviewed by Maggie Wolfendale like 2 weeks ago and looked and sounded relatively fine. I know it was an obscure eye cancer, a cancer of the eye. But Pete, I'm sure you didn't have any connection with Christoph, but all you know is you look in the PPs, you knew his horses most likely were going to run well.
Well, it's funny. I today before the show, since I knew you guys were going to talk about him and I didn't really have anything to add, I was looking to see what my favorite Clement horses might be. And there's one right where that finger is. Gio Ponte is a picture right there, who I loved. And my friend Mike got me this awesome thing because it has a really cool quote on the bottom. So that, and Paul Gufo, who you sent me a lovely picture of from the barn one time, or from the paddock, I forget where it was, but those are two of my relatively recent favorite horses. So there's plenty, and I just a lot of great turf horses, and a Belmont winner and tonalist. So there was just some huge names, and I mean, obviously it's a giant in the sport. Like you said about the Hall of Fame thing, it's always weird because I always wonder, horse racing's a tough one because you always say, why do you put people in the Hall of Fame when their career is still going? But in horse racing, as D. Wayne Lucas shows, you could be 150 by the time he'll stop training. So it's a shame that someone who's so accomplished missed out on it, could have got it under the wire before his untimely passing.
Well, the barn is in very, very, very capable hands. I don't see them declining at all with Miguel at the helm. They've got wonderful people all over that barn there. So the Clement name is going to continue to do well, not just in New York, but throughout the country as well. Guys, it was a lot of fun. Appreciate it. A lot of exciting news going on. We're really excited for Churchill on Saturday, and Churchill a month from now, and I will be there in person live doing some reporting, maybe with some other of our talent as well, and we'll have a live show. We have plenty of time to talk about that. Take a look on our YouTube channel next week. We have many shows, not as many as we have for Derby Week. We've got a lot of shows. Some of them are going to be taped. And the last thing, for those of you that subscribe to our Team HHH, we will have a special edition a week from Saturday. It's not going to be as big a package as it was for the Derby, but we will have everyone involved in the podcast with a multi-page package just for you if you are a Team HHH subscriber. For good friend Pete Visco and Paul Howard, and this has been Howard Kravitz, episode 411. We got the 411 for you right here on the show of Picks and Ponies Stephen Foster Preview Day. Coming up in about 15-20 minutes, great race plays Thursday night, 9:30 Eastern, San Anita Late Pick 4 Sunday. Check that out. Crush your bets at Churchill Downs Saturday. Take care, everyone. Have a wonderful evening. Bye-bye.
If you have not followed his Triple H Horse Racing podcast, you're missing out. It's one of the best podcasts in the country.